Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's wonderful to welcome you here all at the 21st conference of our foundation. I'm Janneke Roos, and I'm a member of the board of Dialoog-NJI, and for today I will be your moderator. And first of all, I want to thank you all for being here. And I'm saying this because, unfortunately, we have not succeeded this year in securing subsidy from the Ministry of Public Health and Social Welfare and Sport. So we have to do this on a shoestring. But you came and you make this happen. And we even received donations for which we are very grateful. In this regard, I want to give special thanks to the National 4-5 May Committee for their generous financial support. Before going on, I want to note that although we initially mentioned that the language would be Dutch, given the number of non-Dutch speakers, I will do the moderation in English. And I hope that won't be a problem for the Dutch audience. The speeches are both in English and in Dutch and in your program. And of course, you are free to post your questions in Dutch if that makes you feel more comfortable. I also would like to mention that we have a video maker and a photographer throughout the day. So if you have any objections on having your picture published, can you please make that known to us? The title of this conference is Reconciliation in What Way? Or better, what do you mean? It was hard to find a good translation of hoezo, as it says in Dutch. And I'm not sure whether we succeeded. But the underlying issue was that the initial target group of persons who experienced the war is shrinking. So the question popped up whether dialogue with the purpose of reconciliation is still relevant, or whether we have to think about other forms of reconciliation. Yukari Tangena Suzuki, our chairperson, will elaborate on this. For our regular audience, last year's symposium came as a kind of surprise, and there was some confusion about the purpose of the discussions in the afternoon. And just to recap, the symposium served the purpose of sharing academic research findings about trauma and reconciliation at different levels. And from the discussions, we hoped to generate recommendations for policy and makers and academia. With today's conference, we have returned to the format of emphasizing personal experiences and considerations against the historic and political backdrop of World War II in the Pacific and its consequences. We are therefore very happy to welcome our special guests, some of whom came from far, who have the courage to share with us very sensitive memories, experiences, and some controversial political dimensions around the theme of reconciliation. They all belong to the second generation, like I do, and have not experienced the war when it happened. Nevertheless, they all articulate what reconciliation means to them. Their profiles are included in your program, I'm sure you have read it. But I will still briefly introduce them while walking you through the program. So firstly, after me, Yugari Tangana Suzuki will have her welcome word. And then we will have the presentation of Mr. Philip de Heer, who for many years was diplomat in China, Japan, US, Singapore, and Sweden, and he was also first secretary to the Queen, Queen Beatrix. And it was during the period that his interest in the questions that we will discuss today was raised, as he was involved in the preparations of the program at the state visit. Our next speaker is Mrs. Eriko Ikeda, a very brave woman who worked many years as director of documentary with NHK Japan Broadcasting Corporation, which is an equivalent of the BBC. And she was also involved in the establishment of the Women's Active Museum on War and Peace. After these two presentations, between the two presentations, there will be no time for questions. We will do that after each two presentations. So then we have a coffee break, 20 minutes, and now we continue with the presentation of another distinguished Japanese guest, Professor Tomio Asano, who is a professor of political history of Japan at the Department of Political Science and Economics at Waseda University. His professional background in political history of Japan brings another dimension of reconciliation to the table. Reconciliation at the national level and reconciliation between nations. The next speaker will be Mr. Maarten Hitsges, who worked with several public broadcasting agencies and is co-director in an eyewitness documentary about the Netherlands military campaign in South Sulawesi in 1946, which was a very loaded campaign. And he is also the author of the book called At Home Nobody Believes Me. The book can be obtained on the table that you find in the lobby. There are several books there that can be bought. And lastly, to end the morning program, Mr. Ariette Kaper will share with us the background of her artwork. Unfortunately, there is no wind, so we have to blow to make it move, because that's the idea, or keep us. And that reflects her quest for identity and can be admired here. There will be the opportunity to ask questions just before coffee break, as I just said, after listening. It's only 5 minutes Q&A before the coffee break and before lunch. May I invite our president, chairperson, Mrs. Yukari Tangana.